Good morning and happy Saturday, listeners. It's September 13th, 2025, and today we're diving into one story with far-reaching implications. This is a special in-depth episode, a closer look at a tense moment in U.S. immigration policy, corporate risk, and international diplomacy. We'll unpack what happened at Hyundai's battery plant in Georgia, why scores of South Korean workers were detained, and what the fallout means for the U.S. labor market, foreign investment, and bilateral relations with South Korea. If you've ever wondered how a single raid can ripple through boardrooms and diplomacy alike, this episode is for you. We're going to move slowly, connect the dots, and give you a clear sense of what's next in this evolving story. I'm your host, and I've spent time pulling together the timeline, the human stories, and the policy tensions that so many people are watching right now. Now, let's set the scene and understand why this matters beyond a single raid. On September 4th, 2025, a sweeping immigration raid at Hyundai's Georgia facility led to the detention of 475 workers, including about 300 South Koreans, on short-term assignments. The workers were largely on B1 and B2 visas, the business and tourism categories that are meant to facilitate travel, inspection, training, and short-term work in the United States. The immediate human impact was stark. Families disrupted, housing and school plans upended, and a sense of uncertainty about how a rapid enforcement action intersects with a company's ability to run a high-stakes technology operation. At the same time, industry heads warned about the potential economic impact. Hyundai and other Korean companies warned that delays or a lack of clarity around visa rules for technical staff could threaten investments totaling hundreds of billions of dollars in the U.S. economy. It's a number that grabs attention not because of a single policy tweak, but because it underscores how tightly connected labor mobility, high-tech manufacturing, and international investment are in today's global economy. The diplomatic dimension quickly followed. South Korea's president condemned the raid and tied future investment to a fix that would let skilled Korean technicians enter the United States legally to set up equipment and train local hires. This didn't happen in a vacuum. The timing mattered. It came a few weeks after a high-profile summit between former President Trump and South Korean leadership, and as Seoul pledged to expand important industrial facilities across several states. The sequence created a sense that policy choices in Washington could directly touch strategic economic plans in Seoul. As with many immigration stories, there are competing angles. For workers on the ground, the immediate concern is legal status, the risk of being out of status, and the possibility of returning home under uncertain terms. For Hyundai, the challenge is keeping projects on schedule, ensuring workforce stability, and managing the optics of a raid that could be framed as overreach or as necessary enforcement, depending on who you ask. For U.S. policy, the question centers on visa rules, the judgment about who qualifies for what kind of access, and how to balance security with the need for highly skilled labor in critical sectors like batteries and semiconductors. And for investors and policymakers, the question becomes, how do you de-risk a supply chain that crosses oceans and borders while maintaining a predictable business environment? Looking ahead, the central tension is clear. If visa clarity remains elusive, we could see continued hesitancy from foreign partners, potential capital flight in worst-case scenarios, and longer-term effects on U.S. competitiveness in high-tech manufacturing. If officials craft reforms that explicitly allow temporary skilled workers to perform setup, maintenance, and training tasks without compromising security, there could be a path back toward reassurance and re-acceleration of investment. The human stories will continue to emerge as workers navigate departure, potential re-entry, or new statuses, while companies reassess how they staff major projects that rely on international teams. In this moment, the stakes aren't just about a single raid, but about how the United States positions itself to attract and retain critical talent in a rapidly evolving global tech landscape. And that is why this story deserves a dedicated episode. It sits at the crossroads of immigration policy, international diplomacy, and the economics of modern manufacturing. If you're wondering how policy can move from a courtroom or a briefing room into a factory floor or a boardroom, this is your lens. We'll stay with the facts, the experts, and the voices of those most affected. to illuminate why the next policy move matters to workers, investors, and communities across the country. As always, you can read more about visa policy and up-to-date developments at visaverge.com. Thanks for joining me today as we unpack this complex, consequential moment in immigration and global business. Until next time, take care and stay curious.